The biggest wrestling event in history, AEW All In at Wembley Stadium. Over 80,000 fans will be in attendance, including yours truly and my guest today. We're both going to be at Wembley Stadium for this show. Really buzzing for it. There's 11 matches announced, 2 on the buy-in, 9 for the main show. And, well, if you're not sure what the match card is, well, this is what we're going to be discussing. So many big names and big reasons to get excited. And like I say, I'm going to be in attendance, which I'm really happy about. And my guest today is also going to be in attendance for this show. It is the one, the only Mr. NX Steve in the house. Silk, how are you doing?
I am buzzing, mate. Like, I watched Dynamite this week and I've seen the changes. And you know what? I'm still gassed. Like, I'm super excited to see this show. If anything, I'm probably more excited to see this show than I was to go and watch Clash at the Castle.
Wow, okay, that's a big statement to make as well. I mean, it's been actually proclaimed the biggest wrestling event in history. Do you think that AEW can live up to that label? Obviously, like we said, they're breaking, ticket sales across the board here. Obviously, there's a stacked show here. Do you reckon they can deliver when it comes to the night?
The wrestling wise, 100%. It's just a case of longevity because this is obviously it's 11 matches. It's going to be a long show. I think the doors open at like 5:30 or something. As long as it's not, I mean, I expect it to be fast flowing. So hopefully it's not a case of you just get certain matches that just drag on and it will hopefully just whiz by and it will be a complete blast and it will be just amazing, man. Like it's just going to be so special.
Absolutely. And like you said, it's going to be a long show, but I hope it's going to be a fun show. Very early for those in the States as well. Obviously, for the UK time, the buy-in starts at 5 p.m., which means, of course, for Eastern time, I'll go with just Eastern, that'll be at midday. So that means it's a 6 p.m. start in the UK. That'll be 1 p.m. For those in Eastern time. Obviously, that means if you're on Pacific, and I will treat you, be starting at probably 9 or 10 in the morning, depending if you're going for the buy-in or the main show. So very early start for those in the States. Obviously, a big change for us in the UK, obviously not having to stay up so late either. So really good times ahead. Looking forward to it. We've got quite a few people in-house as well. We've got Johnny Ortiz and Wrestling in-house. Johnny, thank you for joining us. It says, why can't I play Stadium Stampede? Can't find it anywhere in my game. I'm not sure with the 2K games, I'm afraid, on that way, or with just the game in general, really.
It's the update, apparently. It said within the next 24 hours. So it's a case of, unfortunately, just sitting and waiting for your update to be available for your game, I believe.
There you go. Well, there's the answer for you. Better than what I've got for you there. Mo in house as well. Mo, hope you're keeping well. Thank you for joining us once again. And Too Sweet Kyle in the house as well for On the Mark Wrestling Podcast. He will be going live with his crew later on this evening, giving their predictions for All In. And it says, appreciate you guys going live before us. Now I can steal some of your guys' ideas. Got to love it indeed there. And it says, grows seeing you both again. And obviously, share your predictions as well in the comments below if you will. And feel free to borrow some ideas if you will. But
hey, man, everything in wrestling is stolen. Why not in wrestling podcasts as well? It's cool,
why
man.
Why not? Absolutely. But together, we're all in, literally, when it comes to this show. But before we get started, obviously, we've talked about we're buzzing for it. Excitement levels, I'm guessing, got to be at a 10.
Absolutely, man. I mean, like, especially because it's the first ever AEW European event. The fact that it's at Wembley Stadium, it's just going to be special, man. And I'm glad that I get to be a part of it. I think if I hadn't have gone, I'd have really, really kicked myself for not going.
Absolutely. I mean, for the longest time, I wasn't going to this show. It's only like in the last few days that things have kind of really come together when the opportunity arose. Obviously, it's going to be a very busy time for me, still around that area. But to be able to have the ability to go and see this show, I've been wanting to do it for ever since it was announced. So the fact I get to do it, I'm absolutely gassed. And like you, I'm a complete. I'm not going to go higher than a 10 because I'd like to go higher than a 10, but I'm a 10 out of 10 as well. Really, 11. Absolutely. Can we crank up to 11? Let us know in the comments. West Coast Podcast in-house as well. Hope you guys are doing well. Thank you for checking us out. And do great content down here as well. So some great podcasts in-house with us in the chat today. Make sure to subscribe to them and On the Mark Wrestling Podcast. NXT, what is the match you're most looking forward to?
Dude, the thing is there's so many, like, FTR Young Bucks is going to be a killer tag team match, and I'm a big tag team guy. Saraya and Ospreay being in the UK for these events, seeing Chris Jericho, because I've never seen Jericho live. Yeah. Sting as well, that's a big one. I've never seen Sting before. I'm super excited about that. It's CM Punk as well, man. House of Black, everything, man. I'm super excited about the whole show, man.
You've pretty much named a lot of the people I'm looking forward to seeing as well. Just off the bat, there, obviously, like, I'm a big CM Punk fan. Will Ospreay for me, I think, is the best wrestler in the world right now. I can't wait to see him live and in person.
Oh, I completely forgot as well. Adam Cole, baby.
It's where I was going next. It is literally Adam Cole, baby. With MJF as well, obviously, they're going to be doing double duty on the evening. Yes, MJF, I guess we're kind of sick perverts really hoping to see him wrestle twice in one evening, but it's what it is. It's what it is. Yeah, better than you, baby. I'm looking forward to seeing how that storyline's really going to progress. Obviously, it's the main event of the show. It's the best booked storyline of the entire show as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out. But there was so much on there. Like I said, I've never seen Chris Jericho live either, but a big fan of his work since the 90s. So there's a lot to look forward to. So without further ado, is there anything you'd like to mention before we go into those predictions?
Nah, man, let's get straight into it, man. There's a lot to talk about. Let's just power through.
I think that's the best way to go. And just to say, very early doors, obviously we start with the buy-in, obviously, but there's two matches for the buy-in, but one of them is Aussie Open and MJF Adam Cole. We're actually going to link that to the main event of this stream because it just feels weird to start off with them and then finish because that story is going to kind of intertwine and go together. So what we're going to do is we're quickly going to do a Collision spoiler, I guess, at this point, because this match has been announced. Obviously, I've not seen Collision, not seen any of the spoilers of what's led to it, but we know the match is here. So if you don't want to know, just buzz off for like 2 minutes and then we'll be probably on the main show. But it is going to be Jack Perry versus Hook for the FTW World Championship. Jack Perry was going to retire this championship after winning it from Hook. Obviously, Jack Perry turned heel on Hook at Forbidden Door earlier this year. Hook was on the chase until Jack Perry got the match, won the championship, has gone on to face RVD, which I pretty would have preferred that on this show, if I'm going to be honest. RVD is my favorite wrestler of all time. However, we're not getting RVD on this show, but certainly these two have been rivaling since Forbidden Door. We're getting this match here. I think the big question is to start off with is, Jack Perry, are you feeling the heel turn?
Do you know what? If you give it time, I think it'll come good. I mean, I'm not being funny. He's a babyface for so long. It's a case of him trying to find his feet. I mean, he's done some pretty good work so far with this FTW championship. I just think that he probably needs to move on to someone else now and to further evolve his character as a heel.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with you. I think time is going to be the essence of this to see how it goes because obviously to ditch the Jungle Boy stuff, I think it was the right time to do so, to try something different, to go on with Jack Perry. I'm full in for Hollywood Jack Perry. That's what I want to see going forward.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
I'd like to see him get an agent. Like, obviously everyone gets labeled with Mark Sterling usually with this stuff with the attorney, but I'd like to see an actual agent, like a manager that can do the voice work for him so he can just be there, be that sort of like, the sunglasses on, just cutting with the one or two lines when he's needed to on the promos. Because for me, the promo work still isn't quite strong enough, but in ring, the guy does carry himself pretty darn well. And obviously with the FTW Championship, it has allowed him to experiment with a different side of himself, obviously being in more hardcore style matches.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be all up for sticking Anna Jay with him. Obviously, in real life, they're dating, I believe. I thought they were. I don't know if they still are, but stick Anna Jay with him as a valet that can wrestle still. I think there's obviously, it's like the hot couple dynamic, almost Miz Maurice type, but obviously I'd like to see them do something different. I've known Jack Perry as apparently wanted to lose the name Jungle Boy for ages and start going by his proper name and start making a name for himself as Jack Perry, basically.
I think it's an interesting change, and I must admit, I am in favor of that change. I felt the same. I thought, he can't go into obviously he's still a young guy. He's got plenty of time of his career, but obviously Jungle Boy, you can't be Jungle Boy at 40, for example. It kind of then goes, well, hang on, something not quite connecting here. So I do see it. Hook, by the way, Taz's son. Obviously, Taz has been very vocal on commentary when Jack Perry's been involved. I'm a big fan of Hook. Obviously, he's been well protected in AEW. Fan base has been quite into Hook as well. So I think the big question is here is does Hook win that championship back, or does Jack Perry keep hold of it?
For me, I think Hook's going to win it back. I think it's his dad's title. I think it's the precipice of it all. And like I know there's rumors of them killing off the FTW title. I don't know whether that's just storyline creative wise, but I'd like to think that the dynamic is that Hook will win this title back for him and his dad.
I think it's the natural storyline how it should finish, and this being on the buy-in as well. I think that with Jack Perry, this can help him evolve further into that character because perhaps he can go to a bit more of a darker place. Obviously, a bit more of a bit more, even more heelish, a bit more angry, a bit more something to go to that next feud and that next rivalry to really anger him, if you will. I'd like to see that, and I think, like you said, that it makes sense there for Hook to win his dad's championship back. Then, if they want to retire it after that, then it can be done on their terms rather than actually being done on someone else's terms, someone that wasn't involved with this championship all along. So I'm agreeing with you. I'm going to go with Hook as my prediction as well. We'll go into the comments very quickly before we move on to the main show. We have got Noob and Co here in the house. Hope you're doing well, Noob. Thank you for checking us out. Hope you're keeping well. C Nation asking what was the point of AR Fox joining the Mobile Embassy. We'll be touching on that more in a bit more detail later on, but apparently AR Fox is one of those that couldn't come to the UK, so was one of those last minute changes that Tony Khan had to do that he was talking about in his media scrum earlier this week, although I can't say I know 100% the reason why AR Fox is not part of it, but certainly is one of the reasons why that change was made. T-Sweet Carl says, Heel Jungle Boy just feels forced, like he's intentionally trying to play the bad guy. It's not connecting with me personally. I can see where he's coming from for that, and that's why I think a mouthpiece would certainly help that at this moment. And I think with a mouthpiece, that certainly would get him to where he wants to get at this particular moment, because we've so been used to seeing him do those babyface style moves as well with the high-risk offense and stuff.
Yeah, but even that, his promo skills, even as a baby face, he's not the best anyway. So I agree with what you said. I think he needs a mouthpiece, but then it's not like he's the first wrestler to ever not be good at promos. I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen the Randy Orton Broken Skull Sessions podcast with Austin, and he turned around and said that for most of his career, he's not known how to do a good promo. It's only within sort of the last 4 or 5 years that Orton's really developed his promo skills. Like, I always thought Randy Orton was good. He apparently thought he wasn't. So, but he's, like I said, he's had a 25-year career so far, whatever it is, and he's only just got good at promos apparently. So.
It tells you everything. Obviously, people are learning in the game all the time, something new each and every time. And Jack Perry's got a long way to go. Obviously, and he can be one of the top names for AEW for many, many years to come. So just got to give it time for this character and that to evolve, I guess. And one more comment. We'll touch on it very quickly with the AR Fox stuff. Obviously, it'll be match 5 or 6 we'll be talking about today. But Darby Allin just forgave AR Fox, and AR Fox just attacked him last month or weeks ago. Absolutely. Same with Nick Wayne as well. Look, it's a bit rushed. It's a bit forced. I agreed that it doesn't really make sense in the story, and why to do a month's worth of storytelling in about 4 minutes. But they were put in a corner, and they've had to make a change. So what's
that famous saying? Cards subject to change.
yeah. And I guess TK just went, well, if we can't blow it off here, then I guess we're just going to move to the story where it was going to go in a different direction. So, and we got Christian Cage to be an absolute douche like he usually is. He's a natural heel.
The
Christian
best of douches, though.
Absolutely. And we'll be coming on to him in a little bit later. But we're going to go then into the main show. And the first match we got labeled on it. And of course, being from the UK, we have to have a UK wrestler in the early matches. Because we're going to talk about the AEW Women's World Championship. That's right. The champion Hikaru Shida will be defending against Saraya, Toni Storm, and Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. That's right. It's a 4-way for the championship. So pretty much Toni Storm was given a bye to come straight into this match. The other 3 ladies had to qualify, including the champion Shida, who had to defend her championship against Anna Jay to get into this position. Obviously, the other 2 ladies there have qualified also. Not so much on the storytelling for this, but for me, it's a shame at the moment. It's the only women's match that has been announced for the show. I'd like at least one more to be announced for the buy-in. Perhaps maybe a TBS championship with Chris Statlander, maybe Willow Nightingale. There's a Sky Blue, plenty of talent that are not being announced for the show. Ruby Soho as well. But obviously, if we are going to get one match, I'm pleased to see we've got these 4 in the ring. It feels like a fresh match. It feels like a big-time match for the women's division. I hope they're given time. And I hope that they have a good opportunity to steal the show here.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be against them throwing a couple more names into the ring, if I'm honest, to have maybe 6 people go in there, but then it just negates the whole reason of the tournament. But obviously, Saraya's in there. She's going to get massive pop being in London. It's going to be huge for her. Britt's going to get a massive ovation. I personally like Toni Storm. I think she's great. And Hikaru Shida can really kick some ass, man. So I'm really excited for this. I think these four are going to knock it out of the park.
Absolutely. I mean, we go through the list there. Obviously, Toni Storm is a 2-time champion, and of course, she's looking to become the first ever 3-time AEW Women's World Champion. Britt Baker, one of the longest reigning champions that they've had. Of course, she's been the face of that division almost since it started. Saraya, of course, is the hometown girl. I think that she's going to get quite a positive reaction. And of course, Hikaru Shida didn't have the opportunity. She was the pandemic champion. Didn't really get that chance to be champion in front of fans. She now is going to be the person that's going to walk out as champion in front of 80,000 strong, which feels like, there you go, Shida, here is your moment. I have one question before we go to the prediction. Toni Storm has been almost debuting a new style of character, almost a bit, I'm trying to think, 101 Dalmatians, the name that escapes my head, but, kind of like, that's the one I'm looking for. She's kind of been doing that sort of old school style for the last couple of weeks, but what happened to the Outcasts? She still said there's still a friendship there. They've still got it going on, but Toni Storm feels like she's breaking away into her own gimmick and character. Could you see that could be a breakdown with the Outcasts in this match?
There possibly could be a face turn by Toni Storm with this dynamic. And again, poor Ruby's just going to be left sitting there in the background doing nothing, unfortunately, pretty much like our WWE run was. And I'm still waiting for Ruby Soho to blow us away and be the great women's champion that I hope she can be. But I mean, it's setting up that way that these two will probably negate each other within this match, and unfortunately, probably won't see either of these two winning that championship if they were to win it.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how it's going to play out here, but I guess then we'll make the bold prediction. And what's going to be your pick then of these four ladies?
For me, I'm going to say Shida retains. I think she hasn't had it that long. It kind of makes sense that Shida will retain. Plus, Shida really needs it. I think, like you said, Shida's been pandemic champion. This is a moment for Shida to enjoy and get the ovation and to show that Japanese stars can do things at big shows in other countries outside of Japan, really.
I like it. I like the prediction. Like, to be fair, Shida was my prediction for a little while, but I've changed. I've changed my feeling, changed my stance. I know this could go well. It could go really bad for me, but so
before you give it right, see, this is the problem I have with this show is I feel that every title could change hands. This is the problem. And I'm trying to be realistic with my predictions and be like, okay, not every title is going to change hands. That would be delusional. That'd be crazy. Which is why, unfortunately, I'm saying Shida retains. But go ahead, Steve.
That's fair. That's fair. So here's what I think was originally the plan for AEW before Jamie Hayter could not make it back, and it's a shame she's not going to make this show. I thought Toni Storm was going to be the champion walking in, and Hayter was going to win the title. There was going to be a hometown pop for the women's division on this show. Obviously, Jamie Hayter's not a part of this show. Toni Storm dropped the championship on Dynamite 200 to Shida. Shida gets her moment being champion in front of fans. She also gets to walk in front of Wembley with that championship. Unfortunately for her, I think it's going to be a short-term reign. Toni Storm's got a new character going on. Britt Baker is going to make up the numbers. I'm predicting Saraya wins the championship in front of the UK crowd. It's going to be that sort of hometown pop, if you will.
See, my only reason is there's another match later on, which is why I don't think Saraya's going to win this. I think this is why I think she's going to retain. I mean, it makes sense because then you can force a story between Toni Storm and Saraya going forward. But for me, like I said, I can't see every title changing hands, so I'm going to say Shida retains.
It's interesting. Whatever happens, something's going to break down in this match as well. And it will, of course, we've got All Out 1 week after this. So whatever they do here, they need to build something for the Women's Championship match the following week. So it's going to be fascinating. We're going to be talking about that a lot in this card, I imagine, because like I say, so much can go down. But let's go into the comments anyway and see what people have got to say. Tina's time in the house, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Tina, thank you for joining us. Hope you were keeping well. And his prediction is going to be Shida going to be the prediction for us there. Also, Pierre saying that prediction is going to be Saraya. Nubiko saying that Shida is winning the match, but I got a question: is AEW taking shots at WWE and its booking of Oscar for the past few weeks? Personally, not for me. No, I don't see any connection personally.
No, I don't either. I think it's two separate companies, and it's like I know both companies have a stigma about booking women's wrestling badly, but I still expect this to be a really good match. I think like you've got four of their at the moment biggest stars that are available, aside from maybe Jade Cargill, Jamie Hayter, who's injured. Do you know what I mean? I think that this is the best outcome we could possibly get for the show.
Yeah, I think so as well. Personally, we'll have to see how it go. If she is to retain, and that's how they want to go. Obviously, for me, I hope it's Saraya. I want the hometown pop, and Saraya hasn't really done anything.
I get that. Yeah.
I mean, Saraya hasn't done anything since coming through and back, and I think she's been well protected to get this match and to get this moment as well in front of fans. And I think that to have that, I think it's been a very big special moment for her career. I don't necessarily see Saraya being a long-term women's champion in AEW, but certainly I think for the moment, I think it'd be pretty darn awesome. And of course, be able to say that she's going to have the hero welcome this Sunday night, and obviously Sunday night for the UK, obviously not for the American audience.
This is the other reason why I think Shida will retain. Like you said, you think Shida is going to be a short-term champion. This is the other reason why I think now you say that, it makes me think that if you were, I can imagine that the wrestling world will just crap all over it and say that they still can't put the women's division right. Shida's having a short reign. They give it to someone else. Blah blah blah. I think that there's more stigma to come from it if she drops this title. Potentially,
you could be right there. Personally, for me, there are people out there that I think will bash it whatever happens. Doesn't matter what answer happens. That's just unfortunately the nature of X or the nature of Twitter. I'm not sure what we're still calling it these days, but I'm sticking with Twitter because that's what I know. Temple Players in the house is all packed and ready for Wembley. Evening, lads. Hope you're keeping well, Temple, and hope you enjoyed the show when you're there on Sunday. Too sweet, Kyle was wrong.
I'm hoping Saraya wins as well for that hometown pop. That's what I want, but it's just not my prediction, unfortunately.
To be fair, sometimes we can't predict what we want. We have to. Sometimes it's head over heart. I've gone heart over head. That's
Drew should have won at Clash.
Exactly.
I'll keep going on about it.
Heart overhead. There we go. This week, Kyle says Saraya or Britt for me. Shida was a transitional champion. Give it to a start and revitalize the women's division. And he goes on to say, well, selfishly, I'd like to see Britt as champion at All Out because, of course, Kyle will be in the house at All Out. So there you go. I like it.
Do you know the thing is, the good thing with this match is that all four of those women are justified to win that title. It's not like someone's been like Britt's. Do you know what I mean? Britt's been around since the beginning and has been a 2-time or whatever women's champion. So they all have a right to be in this match. And if any of them win it, I'll be gassed for whoever wins it. If I'm honest, like I haven't got a problem if a certain person wins it. Do you know what I mean? I think they all deserve a shot with it.
I won't complain whatever the result is for this match, honestly. I just hope it's a good one. That's all I'm hoping. But Temple says Saraya wins the title. We see her brother and the family in the ring celebrate. Would be a great touch. Would be, or certainly even them sitting in the crowd, I think could be all right.
That makes me believe that it's going to happen more now.
There you go. CD here says, remember when Payback was a week after SummerSlam? That's what vibes I'm getting with All In and All Out. Pretty much, it's all in, all out, and shake it all about.
Shake it all about.
That is what it is. So he says, Stadium Stampede needed Chris Hero. I will not stop mentioning his name. I really want to see him in AEW. He's backstage in AEW, but just not on screen.
No. Oh, no. Oh, no.
I'm going to be controversial. I never really got behind Chris Hero. Never really.
Chris Hero. Nah, man. He was gatekeeper to NXT, man. I loved Chris Hero, man. He was amazing. Cassius, no.
Yeah, Cassius, yeah. With the division, AEW, it's We Are Back. The Divas era in AEW, I hate to have this feeling. I don't have that feeling. I think that they're making strides. I do realize that they could do better. I think the reason... I don't want to spend too long on this. We have too many matches to go through, so we'll do this briefly. But, like, for me, it's a case of if you have one match per show, you don't have enough time to showcase the division. The talent pool is there. You need to showcase them. You need to give them more stories. You need to give them stuff to do. Don't just sort of bring them and say, this is the quarter hour we throw every segment, every match, and everything we need to do for this week. And it's minimalistic of what leads on to the next show and the next week. They need to get more.
Yeah, I mean, especially with 11 matches on the card, again, you could say you expect more than one match, but as long as they don't do a total Divas TV show, I think this women's division will be okay.
Yeah, I think so as well. I actually have to disagree, though, and say that I think Saraya is a star here. We've got saying that Britt is the only star at the moment, perhaps in AEW, but Saraya was paged in WWE and was definitely a big name there and was seen as a big deal when she signed. So for me, I would have to disagree personally.
Yeah, like I said, I think Saraya's like, you'll see when her music hits and that crowd sees her, they're going to go mad for it. And you're going to realize, I know obviously it's hometown favoritism, but I've been a fan of Paige since NXT. And it's like, I've loved Paige ever since. And it's like, one of our own, do you know what I mean? So I suppose there is a kind of favoritism there to it, but nah, man, I'll be guest for her.
Same, absolutely. CDC Saraya winning the championship. Remember, Hikaru Shida is the longest reigning AEW Women's World Champion. It won't hurt her. Great point made indeed. And Tino asking what time it starts for him. So you're on Central Time. So I've been working off Eastern Time here with this stuff. So it's 12 o'clock Eastern Time, which means it's 11 a.m. start for you for the buy-in. It'll be 12 o'clock midday for when it starts for you to watch the main show. There we go, getting there just about. So yeah, we've got a couple of more comments we'll quickly go through, and then we'll move on to the next match. Temple just says Ray Phoenix out, so we're not getting one surprise for each team like planned, and wanted a homicide involved with this. But yeah, would have been interesting. Have it been so? It's a shame Ray Phoenix is not there. One of the few gutted ones to see that he's not there, but it's what it is. His NXT theme was sick. Good shout, NXT as well with the oh no's.
His NXT was banging.
Absolutely. Well, let's move on to the next match in the meantime anyway, because we've got plenty to go through, and we've got another bit of biasy coming for us next now. Because, of course, I've got to mention Will Ospreay nice and early in this match. He'll be taking on Chris Jericho. I've got to say, this match, I didn't know that I needed to see this match until this past week on Dynamite. Obviously, the story's kind of based around the idea of would Jericho join Don Callis' family? And, of course, Jericho was open-minded to doing so. In fact, in the end, he agreed to the proposition, to the fact he kind of left the JS completely behind as well. Sammy Guevara, those remained on side, even if the rest of the group hasn't. But there was a picture that was in ring that Don Callis didn't want to show because he was shocked that Chris Jericho said yes. Obviously, it showed that he was holding Chris Jericho's head. And obviously, when Chris Jericho saw that, the beatdown was done from Will Ospreay. Jericho was left bloody. And basically, the reasoning for this is because of the fact that Don pretty much promised Will Ospreay this match would happen at Wembley Stadium, the biggest show of all time, apparently, the biggest wrestling show event in history is what they're tagging this. Obviously, Will Ospreay being from the UK to be in Wembley Stadium, bruv. Basically, it's the biggest thing ever. And obviously, he says this is the biggest payday for him. He does an indie show 24 hours earlier against Shingo of New Japan, by the way. So that's probably going to be a 40-minute encounter as well for that indie show. Yeah, Ospreay and Jericho. I mean, Jericho as well saying he's going to have to be the best version of himself to win this match, but Ospreay also has to be the best version of himself to win this match. Just to pull apart everything about this contract signing for me, it just hit home. Jericho even saying he got in contact 5 years ago with Ospreay to say, change your in-ring style, because otherwise you're going to end up like your hero, the Dynamite Kid. For me, it just touched all the bases, and for me, I'm actually really invested in this match a lot more than what I was going in.
Yeah, just after one promo segment, you know, and imagine if we'd have had a month's build-up of this, how good and how heated this would have been. But yeah, I'm the same. I remember watching Will Ospreay as a skinny kid in the J1 Cup for Rev Pro in a dingy hall in Walthamstow in front of like 200 people fighting Kushida. No, was it Kushida? Might have been, yeah, Kushida, Marty Skrull, and I forget the other one. But man, I was hooked on that kid from that day. And look, you did a video earlier on this year for Wrestler of the Year, and me and Mex were the only ones to say the one and only Will Ospreay, baby. The guy's money. He has 5-star matches for fun. This is going to be an absolute killer. Chris Jericho is on my Mount Rushmore. He's one of my 4 of lifetime. I've loved him ever since his debut that I ever saw him in, which was obviously that famous one on Monday Night Raw. So I'm expecting this to be absolutely fire, man. I cannot wait for this. Ospreay again, another homegrown hero, is going to get that massive pop when the music plays.
Absolutely, indeed. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a big pop for Will Ospreay, but obviously as well, Fozzy going to be playing live for this. Chris Jericho going to be singing himself to the ring with 80,000 fans going to be singing along with him. Are you pumped to sing Judas live?
Well, I know the word, Steve. Apparently you don't, so I'm okay. You're the one who needs to have it on repeat constantly now between now and Sunday.
I'm all right for like the first verse and the chorus, but if Jericho goes further, that's when I'd start to struggle a little bit.
Normally, it's just a chorus repeated over and over again.
We should hopefully be all right. I just have this feeling they're going to do the whole song, and literally Jericho's going to. This is going to take time. This is going to be like a Triple H or Undertaker style WrestleMania entrance. Do you know what I mean? But and that's the other thing. Jericho hyped this up as well. This is bigger than a WrestleMania. This is bigger than the Tokyo Dome. They're literally saying that this is the biggest thing ever. They're adding importance to this show. I really hope that this show can deliver to what they are building up as the expectation. But certainly, it's an exciting one.
Yeah, and I mean, although the show hasn't officially sold out, for what they've achieved, for the fact that it had sold 70,000+ tickets without having a single match announced, is an impressive feat in itself. And I say it again, just the fact that I get to be part of it, and I get to see some of these guys that I've never had the opportunity to see, some of these guys that I really want to see, super gassed, man.
I feel exactly the same as you. And obviously, just to go in the final bit of build here before we go to our prediction, Will Ospreay saying that he's doing this to, put a step kid into school. This is all about making money, basically. And obviously, he's saying his contract is up with New Japan in the next 6 months. And he said that he would be, if he beats Jericho, the only guy in 2 months to have beaten Jericho, Okada, and Kenny Omega, which, of course, that's quite an impressive resume. Will Ospreay, with the contract coming up, do you reckon he could go to AEW full time?
He could do. My problem is I think that he loves New Japan too much. I think it's just I think it's the same as like MJF really, and he's just using it as part of his creative and his narrative. But from what I hear, he loves New Japan too much. He loves the style of wrestling out there. He's always been like, there was obviously that famous one where Paul Heyman offered him a contract to go to Evolve many years ago when he was when Paul Heyman was doing an interview for Inside the Ropes, I believe it was, and he offered him a contract then, and Ospreay stayed faithful to New Japan this whole time. So I can pretty much say that he will probably stay there. He's got his own faction. He's been New Japan champion, although yes, he can come to AEW and be AEW world champion. I just think he loves New Japan too much.
I actually agree with you. I definitely don't think he goes to WWE. That's for sure. I don't think I've seen in interviews, scheduling is not it's not what he wants. He's a very big family person. New Japan allows him to go and do some dates, go and be with his family, go back and do some dates, go and be with his family. I think that's a big part of it for him. Obviously, it gives the ability then of why he goes overseas. AEW's already got the appearances. He could literally go and appear on all the big shows if he wanted to, if he was booked for them. And so I don't necessarily think anything would change, but I do think he may use other companies as leverage to make a bit more money because, well, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? Exactly. So let's go to prediction then. Jericho Ospreay. Who's your pick?
I'm going for my boy Will. It's got to be hometown pop. It's got to be.
I'm going 2 for 2 for the UK crowd. I'm going to say Will Ospreay picks up the victory here as well. I just have a feeling that they can build up something further with the Don Callis story and Jericho going forward. Obviously, Kenny Omega's got the same issue with Don Callis at the moment as well. And they need to build stuff for All Out. So for me, it makes more sense here for Will Ospreay to pick up the victory and Jericho to look to try and get further revenge a week later rather than picking up the win here and feel like he's got his revenge sorted.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I could see a multi-man match happening at All Out next week. Sammy Guevara and Jericho versus Ospreay and whoever. Do you know what I mean? Whoever he decides to team up with. But no, dude, Tony Khan's a clever guy, man. And I think that he'll know that the hometown pop will be just immense if Ospreay wins it. Like, it will be bigger than Saraya's, undoubtedly, but it will just be. And plus, I think Jericho's the kind of guy that would want to put Ospreay over as well, especially in his hometown. This ain't no WWE booking where the hometown hero loses. I can't imagine Saraya and Ospreay lose on Sunday. One of them will win, guaranteed. But for me, I think it's Ospreay.
I mean, I've gone for both, so I've gone against the WWE style booking as well. That's one last question. One last question. We'll go to our comments. Sammy Guevara has said he remains the friend of Chris Jericho. I just wonder, what if he was to cost Jericho the match and join the Don Callis family?
Do you know what? It would be interesting. I'd actually be really interested in seeing a Sammy Guevara Jericho story. Like, I think it's you know what I mean? It's like the longest friendship that's been around in AEW, and finally have him turn around and go, do you know what? I'm done with you now. I think if you have Ospreay beat Jericho clean, and then I would have Guevara go after him after the match and just be like, do you know what? You're done. You're dusted. I'm done with you. I think that would make more sense to me.
Certainly. Like I said, I think they'll be building things either way. I think Jericho Guevara certainly is somewhere in the near future. Let's go into the comments and see what people do have to say. And we've got Pierre here now saying that this match was supposed to happen at Wrestle Kingdom in 2021, but because of COVID, it didn't happen. Of course, it was a lockdown at the time. So, yeah.
Thank you, COVID.
Yeah, that's why we didn't get that in, but we do get it here. That's the good thing. We get it here, which is nice to see. Ed Fry is in the house. Hope you're doing well, Ed. Thank you very much. It's good to see you and hope you're keeping well. Does great work on our local establishment. If you want to check out Ed out on basically YouTube or Twitch as well. CD says that AEW is going too far. This isn't the biggest wrestling show in. I think you could be wrong there, CD. I'm biased. I'm from the UK. I'm saying it could just very well be. But no, I'll tell you what. Honestly, time will tell. We'll have to wait and see how it's going to progress. And obviously, a show can be great at the time. It's how it's going to be received in 4 or 5 years from now. But from a gate selling perspective, it's certainly up there. People are saying it's the record. So,
like I said, 70,000 odd seats sold before a match was even announced. That's special in itself.
Absolutely. It just goes to show as well the dedicated fan base across in the UK, which I didn't think AEW had, which is great to see. Temple says Nigel McGuinness to make an appearance and stare down with Samoa Joe is his prediction. We'll see if that comes true for you on the show. And he also says Will Ospreay, if he beats Jericho, that would mean he beats Okada, America, and Jericho in less than 2 months. Who's next? Danielson? Hopefully. I mean, he did say he was better than Danielson, so that's a match I want to see in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. But just to go back to the McGuinness one, he's an ROH, so he'll be on commentary for that match anyway. So,
I mean, I hope that Nigel McGuinness commentates the whole show. Personally, I think it'd be a nice touch to have him in the booth for the whole thing.
It would be nice, but yeah. But like I said, I think he'd just be on for the ROH Championship.
We'll have to wait and see. You could be very right, though, with that as well at the same time. But they would free him up to do something else in the show. PS says Chris Jericho to win. Tino says after the promo, much more hyped. He's going to go with Will to win. Also, Temple says that Will Ospreay needs to go over here. Jericho doesn't need this win. Jericho has been putting over people as of recent. It certainly has been. We've got Derek. Thank you for Derek for joining us. We've got Will Ospreay winning, but Chris Jericho seeing Judas is going to be really awesome. I really think it is going to be awesome. I think you could be right. And so he says he's actually got it written down here. Derek is how to say my name. Thank you very much for that, for clarifying. Make sure that I can get it right going forward. But it will be awesome to see that many people singing it. And CD here says Will Ospreay to win, and Don Callis helps him, which I think Don Callis probably should, just to get that bit of extra heel heat. Certainly could be a possibility. We'll move on in the meantime to what will be our third match on the main show. Will come up. And of course, it has to be a trilogy. A trilogy, ladies and gentlemen, for match 3. Of course, it's FTR versus the Young Bucks for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. Of course, these two seen as two of the best teams in pro wrestling. Of course, they've had 2 matches, obviously, in the past. Obviously, the Young Bucks winning the first one, FTR winning the rematch, which I believe was on a Dynamite at some point last year. We finally have the rubber match between these two teams in front of Wembley. Pretty much not really much more needs to be said about this match in terms of build. It speaks for itself. 2 of the best tag teams of all time looking to steal the show. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be, man, it's going to be crazy, man. Like, what can you say? If you can't ask much more for them, possibly 2 of the best tag teams in the world. Do you know what I mean? There's like they're both in the top 5, so you're not going to argue. Obviously, the order may differ between different people, but yeah, man, it's good. It's going to be crazy, and this is for me probably the hardest one to call of the night, just because of story wise, and also recent events. I think may play into it as a factor, unfortunately, but who knows, man? It's going to be crazy.
Obviously, we won't go into too much detail. We're not fully aware of all the Cash Wheeler stuff that's going on at the moment and how that's going to progress long term. But certainly, it will play into my prediction. I'm not going to take too long in going into this one. I think the Young Bucks are going to win the AEW World Tag Team Championships here.
Yeah, I'm the same as you. I think that the Young Bucks are going to win as well. I think it's been ages since we've seen the Bucks have the tag team titles alone and outside anyway. So I think it'll be, and plus again that'll be a massive. Not that FTR retaining wouldn't be a massive pot, but I have a possibility that this could be match of the night. Though that's the only thing. So I expect it to get a massive crowd reaction.
I think you could be right, and PS suggests it could even be match of the year. Certainly, these two teams have got the ability to do just that. Of course, they've known for fine tag team match. And FTR recently had a great match with Bullet Club Gold on Collision that went 58 minutes. I'm hoping this doesn't go 58 minutes. It's a long show that we have on our hands otherwise, but still, at the same time, I think certainly they have the ability to do that. I would ask one completely bonkers question just before we go to the comments, because let's get bonkers. We're here talking AEW, we're talking FTR and the Young Bucks. Is there any possibility in the world that we could eventually get CMFTR versus the Elite?
Yes, there is a possibility. It's the slimmest of possibilities. It's just a case of everyone's got to be on a level playing field with a level understanding. I'm not being funny, but from a business sense, hey, that's going to make money no matter what. Like, you could advertise a show, have that as the only match announced, and put 10 other matches on the card, and you couldn't announce a single match, and another match, and that match alone would sell that show out.
I would agree with you. I think personally it would do. Obviously, like you said, business is what it's all about. It doesn't look like it's happening in the near future, but certainly to see these two teams mixing it up, it just makes you wonder, what if one day? But also, PS says wants Usos, New Day, and Young Bucks in a triple threat match one day. That sounds like it'd be pretty awesome. And Pierre also says that this match will be a 5-star by Dave Meltzer. We'll move on in the meantime. I mentioned CM Punk. Let's talk about the real World Championship, not just any World Championship, the real World Championship, CM Punk versus Samoa Joe. Obviously, these two have got a lot of history from their matches in Ring of Honor. I believe they've shared 4 hours in the ring together. I believe that was said on commentary by Nigel McGuinness. Hope I'm right with that. But at the same time, obviously, Punk and Joe have a history that goes back 20 odd years. They've rekindled it since the start of Collision. Obviously, Punk did win in the Owen Hart tournament to eliminate Samoa Joe. Joe wanted a match with Punk at Wembley. Punk didn't kind of answer him at first, so instead Samoa Joe cost CM Punk the Trios Championships, pulling Punk over the guardrail and puts him in the Kakuda Clutch, I believe is his finisher, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty much that led then to the next week where Samoa Joe took on what was looked like a conquistador. I forget the name of the person at this point, but it was CM Punk obviously dressed up underneath the mask, and was a very unique GTS at the time. But hey, to be fair, if you're wearing one of them suits, I imagine it's probably not the easiest thing to do wrestling holds in. But at the same time, it's put up quite nicely for these two having this match here. But how do you see it playing out? Obviously, Punk versus Joe at Wembley. Obviously, like I said, there's a lot of history with these two.
Yeah, I just think that unfortunately it's Punk that's got all the momentum behind him at the minute, and obviously being the what's the word I'm looking for here? The unofficial AEW World's Champion. Do you know what I mean? He's never officially lost that title. I think again, I think this plays more into the fact that ROH is on a streaming service rather than on being on TV. I think that's another problem with it. I think that Punk has just got all the momentum though.
Yeah, I mean, I think that certainly has all the momentum as well there. But because I mean, when you look at with Joe, like obviously he's doing good things in Ring of Honor, but at the same time, a lot of that isn't translated onto AEW TV. So I mean, obviously,
yeah.
You know, he's a big star. He's done great stuff across the world. But I was really enjoying the Punk Starks feud, and I was really hoping that was going to be on this show. Just me, what I wanted to see. But at the same time, I'm looking forward to seeing Joe and Punk live, because I think these two, they had a great match on Collision the other week, and I do feel that they can tell a great story in ring. Like I said, they've got a history to work with as well, although I've not seen a lot of that Ring of Honor footage. I'll be quite honest with everybody saying that. I look forward to seeing what they may pull out of references. I'm sure, as obviously Temple's in the comments as well, who's very big with Ring of Honor and history and stuff like that. They probably will do some throwback stuff from that content into this match and probably tell its story that way, which will probably be quite fun and exciting for those that are aware of that history.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is probably what this match is all about, and it is about their history. They have so much in-ring chemistry, and it's probably the biggest match we could get for CM Punk on this show, aside from us, like we said previously, CMFTR versus the Elite. So I mean, there is.
Don't know if it's me that's gone there. Yeah, I don't know if it was me that went there or if it was yourself there. So I will just ask you to repeat that just so I heard you.
Oh, no, I was just saying that no, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, I think this was the best match that we possibly could have got for CM Punk, aside from like you said, Ricky Starks, maybe. I think that this is probably the best of a worst case scenario. Like Punk hasn't been back too long, and he's obviously in that spot where it's kind of like it's hard to try and find somewhere and someone to book him with. So I'm all for it. Like I really want to see Samoa Joe as well. So I'm excited we've got this match.
Yeah, I'm excited we got this match. I do think it's going to be a good one to play out. But obviously, when it comes to the prediction, there's only one winner for me. And of course, I mean, CM Punk is going to be the prediction. But I do feel as well, though, it's going to be awesome to see him live. Obviously, to think that he walked away from wrestling for many, many years. He came back to AEW. Obviously, Brawl Out happened, which made you think, will he come back to the company? To now think he is back and now he is going to be at Wembley. That's an exciting prospect. So for me, I'm quite happy he's going to be a part of the show, and he'll be my prediction.
Yeah, I'm going to go with CM Punk as well. I think it was always a certain that he was going to be on this show no matter what. It was a case of although there is the stigma around him, that he is one of the company's biggest names, and I think not having him on this show would be criminal. And I think if anything, I think he's probably one of the main reasons a lot of people have probably bought a ticket as well.
Yeah, obviously, I'm sure a lot of people. He's a household name, but for casuals as well. So I think that probably plays its part into it. So I would imagine that people certainly would be going for that. And as Andrade, I'm sure that's Eric Douglas in the house, says it needs MJF versus Punk, the third match. That could be something that they could potentially do if MJF was to retain his championship. Obviously, we've not got that far yet on this stream, but for them to do the match one more time at some point would be pretty cool, especially if it was to involve the Real World Championship as well.
You'd like to think that's where they're going to go with it. It makes sense from a booking-wise standpoint, but it's just a case of whether they do it or not.
It will have to wait and see. And also, it depends if MJF does retain his championship. Although we predicted Punk to do so, Punk may not retain his championship either. So there's certainly a lot of things to go with on this one. Naito Ospreay apparently got 7 stars on the G1 Climax. I did hear that was actually meant to be a really, really good match. So, yeah, we'll have to go and check that one out at some stage indeed. Have we ever had an FTR versus Ozzy Open match? I need that. It was a New Japan show last year in the UK, in London. They did that match. They've not done it on AEW as of yet, to my knowledge, but or Ring of Honor for that matter. But it certainly would be interesting the time they do. I did think there was an opportunity we could have got that match on this show, but I'm pleased it is against the Bucks personally. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, no, I'm more excited for the Bucks at the minute. I think it's, again, biggest show in Europe. Well, first show in Europe. It has to be the biggest names on the card.
Absolutely indeed there. Curvin in the house, thank you for joining us. Says Tony Khan going to build 1 week full card for AEW All Out September 3rd. Literally is going to be the case. 2 matches announced at the time of recording, but I think quite a few will be put together via this show. Miro versus Powerhouse Hobbs and Luchasaurus going against Darby Allin for the TNT Championship. They're the only 2 matches announced at this time.
Wow, a bit random, isn't it? It seems like All Out's going to be a bit of a hodgepodge of a show this year.
Absolutely. But I do think, and thank you, CD, for the very kind words there for you, and hope that you do enjoy watching the show as well. Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I think a lot of things are going to be built on this show, and I think there could be the matches announced at this show, stuff that people in attendance may not be aware of until they get home. Did we watch the New Japan Impact pay-per-view? I haven't had the chance to see it yet, I'll be honest. I've seen some clips, but I've not had a chance to watch the show in full. They will do a New Japan AEW pay-per-view at some point again in the future. They've done it for the last 2 years in Forbidden Door. I imagine that will probably continue. We'll move on in the meantime. We're not going to go on with the Cash Wheeler stuff. We'll just quickly mention to the comments. So it's asked not to people to mention that if you don't mind. We'll move on to the next match then. And we'll talk about the Coffin match between Darby Allin and Sting against Swerve, Strickland, and Christian Cage is going to be going down. Obviously, Christian Cage, a last-minute replacement for AR Fox, who was unable to travel to Wembley. But Christian Cage, of course, he's classing himself as the TNT champion. It's actually Luchasaurus. I suppose he is probably the next best for the fill-in. And of course, he did do his usual stick with Nick Wayne, talking about dads. I mean, to be fair, it's been a bit of an interesting one, this one, because it was one of the matches that had a full-on build, and having AR Fox taken out is quite a bit of a disruption. But at the same time, Christian Cage is a big household name, and to get him on the show, I think, is certainly a win.
Do you know what? I'm actually super excited that they put Christian in this. Like, I have been a massive Christian fan for years. Like, He's always obviously he's lived in Edge's shadow for a long time, and for him to step away from WWE, even when he was doing his whole one more match thing in WWE, I thought it was great. And then obviously he went away to Impact. He became the TNA and Impact champion, and I mean he set himself aside, and like obviously he then sort of semi-retired. He's now back, but Hill Christian is great, man. Like he's such a scumbag, and I absolutely love it, man. The promo he cut on I forget on Nick on Dynamite, man. Just what a scumbag, man. You just want to see this guy get his head kicked in, man. So I'm super excited to see it, man.
Absolutely, and obviously we talked about this earlier on. You're super psyched to see the man that's behind you, Sting, in action live for the first time.
Yeah, man. Like, I'm surprised that it's just one of these things that you just don't expect. Like when I went to Clash last year, got to see Edge again and like soaked all that in. Got to see people like Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, blah blah blah. But it was like Edge was the main one because it was like obviously retired. Never thought I'd get the opportunity to see him perform again live. So it was amazing. And then yeah, Sting, like, dude, look at the guy. He's cool as F, man. And yeah, man, he's there up there with Warrior for me, man. Just like icons, and like I know obviously he's like 50 odd years old now, so he's not gonna be like the most fluid in-ring guy, but hey, he's doing Joker Sting, and I can't complain. That's amazing. When he was doing that Impact stuff, I thought it was great, and I loved it. And like I said, now I get to see him live. I'm super excited for it.
Yeah, I must admit, I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be fun to see Sting then. Of course, he usually does. Usually some insane spots more these days than he ever did previously. So it's gonna be fun to see how that's gonna play out. But for me, a question, you mentioned Edge. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff going around him at this particular moment. Just to ask, by the way, the chat very quickly, is Andrade the only one that's hearing static or mute? Let us know in the comments right now if there's any issue of audios or sound either of our side, if you can hear us or not, just so we know if we need to change anything during this stream. But we got asked the question, what if Adam Copeland and Christian Cage are back together one more time in AEW? What are you saying personally? Obviously, the rumors going around at the moment that Edge did say that he was going to be, hopefully, he had an offer put in with WWE. I think he's come out and said that it wasn't a stupid thing that's going around in the rumor mill. He does have a contract sitting waiting for him, but there is belief, according to PW Insider, that Adam Copeland could actually be going to AEW. What would be your thoughts if he was to do so? Could you see him, Christian Cage, back together?
I'm not going to be against it. I'd actually like to see Edge outside of WWE and see what Adam Copeland can do. Like, I think it'd be amazing. He'd still have the same music as well, because his music is like the guy, his song by Metalingus by Alter Bridge, like that's not WWE owned, so he can come to AEW and have the same music, and it will have that same pop that he would get in WWE. It would be massive, and it would be like an unhinged Edge that doesn't have to follow a WWE rule book and like TV like 13 rules and stuff. I'd actually be quite excited to see. Like, I want to know what he can do outside of WWE. I would be all up for it, man. I'd be super excited for it.
I would be as well. But the prospect of it, I mean, think about Edge, Adam Copeland versus Kenny Omega, for example. There were so many matches that we could probably see. Maybe the Young Guns. Go on.
Adam Copeland versus Darby Allin, surprisingly enough, really excites me. I think that would be mad. That's almost like how when Punk came in and Punk chose Darby Allin. I think that's a match I'd want to see, was those two, because Darby's just absolutely obviously insane, and to see what Edge can do when he hasn't got restrictions placed on him, I just think would also be equally insane.
It would be indeed. Obviously, Adam Cole would be a great match. MJF would be a great match as well. But
everyone.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, just to say quickly, obviously, my understanding is that his matches is done, but his contract actually isn't done for another month. So I'm guessing it rules him out of this show. But just a what if that music popped on Sunday?
Oh, mate, crowd would go, like, it'd be exactly the same as when he returned in 2019. Crowd will go absolutely batshit. Excuse my French. But yeah, it'll be absolutely mental. That's what I heard. He still has a month left to go. Obviously, his contract's up, so he'll have no 90-day release, like 90-day wait a release clause or anything like. He hasn't got to wait, so he could literally turn up on AEW that week. From what I heard, they offered him a contract, and it wasn't what he like. It wasn't good enough. Like from what I heard, like it was, say for instance, he wanted, I don't know, 7 figures a year or whatever as a guarantee. They only offered him something in the 6-figure range. That's what I heard. But then obviously, this is the fun about doing wrestling podcasts. It's all speculation and fun. We'll never actually know. But yeah, I think the biggest thing with WWE at the minute is obviously they have their merger about to happen with UFC. So they're about to do a ton of layoffs in the office because they don't need 2 lots of people to do things like accounting and marketing and all that stuff. So, and I'm expecting wrestlers to be let go soon as well. I think that there's a bunch of releases coming up very soon.
Yeah, that does seem to be the what's going on in the rumor mill. We'll have to wait and see what would happen. Obviously, I don't think it's going to happen, but if he does turn up, Adam Copeland, then obviously, it'll be going crazy in Wembley for sure. There, I do agree. By the way, poor AF Fox on last night on AEW Dynamite. I felt like it was going so well for him, and then obviously, to be kicked out of the group and not being a part of Wembley, the biggest show. It's a shame for him, but hopefully, he gets an opportunity, maybe all out to maybe do something about that. But obviously, getting back on track,
maybe.
Could potentially be a way to go down here. But obviously, going back onto the match here quickly, Sting and Darby Allin versus Swerve, Strickland, Christian Cage. Obviously, we talked about the variables, some exciting stuff here. Coffin match as well. Darby usually does some of his most insane stunts during these. I'm just going to dive into the prediction here. Christian Cage just give all that stuff to Nick Wayne, and I think Nick Wayne could perhaps play a part in this match. I think Luchasaurus could play a part in this match as well, but I do think that Christian Cage is going to end up in a coffin here. I do see Sting and Darby Allin picking up the W.
I can't see Sting losing for hell or high water, so I'm also going with Sting and Darby Allin to win. I think you can't have the icon lose at Wembley, man. That'd be like him losing at WrestleMania to Triple H.
Never happened.
No, never.
All right, it did happen.
Hogan got his pop, didn't he?
He did. Not bitter at all. Not bitter at all there. Absolutely indeed there. Well, let's go into the comments. So we've pulled some comments up just so people get to see the comments on the screen, because obviously we're going already. We're nearly an hour into the stream here. So this one's, you can tell it's going to be a long one. Nick Wayne has got a lot of potential. I do agree he's got bags and tons of potential there. But thanks for everyone that told us that the audio is good. That's good to see. I mean, we're pretty much caught up with a lot of what's been said here. But we have got a shout for CM Punk versus Bryan Danielson, best in the world versus best in the world. Of course, both call themselves that at one point. Of course, Chris Jericho did as well. They could do the freeway if they really, really wanted to. And CD says here that the only championship that he sees as an official title to be retained in his opinion will be MJF, though he does see Punk will retain as well. Just doesn't see it as an official title. And let's see here. Would it be fair? At least Sting had a singles career in WWE and has challenged for the WWE title. He's just been a tag team wrestler in AEW, but this is my hot take, and it's just my opinion. And to be fair,
it's
you can't say...
It's true. He's only ever had tag matches, but I think that's to do with more protecting Sting and his age. Like, the guy is in his 50s, and tag team wrestling is the safest way and the best way to make his career even more longer than what it currently is.
And I think it's what stopped people souring on it as well, because if you, for example, Goldberg is a name that's been rumored with this show of making a cameo appearance in some way or format. Goldberg always going for world title is what's led to people being soured. When he was, spearing Dolph Ziggler and The Miz, people didn't mind it. But when he was doing it to Kevin Owens, your world champion, in 21 seconds, and Bray Wyatt, people didn't like it. So I think this is what helps protect it as well. But I mean, of course, each to their own on those opinions. But I think Sting's been pretty well in that time frame. And Pierre says we've had the Punk versus Jericho. We have had Punk versus Danielson a number of times as well, but it was Daniel Bryan, and obviously probably as Danielson in Ring of Honor. But we'll move on in the meantime. We've got more matches still to go through, and the next one we'll talk about will be another. We've got actually multi-man matches now come up for the next one. It's going to start with a trios one for the trios world championships as well. Of course, the House of Black can be taking on the Acclaimed, and not daddy ass, it's badass Billy Gunn. And this one's had a bit of a story go to it as well. Of course, the Acclaimed have lost a couple of times to the House of Black in the past. And that has led to eventually Billy Gunn saying he was going to hang up his boots and he was going to leave the wrestling ring. But House of Black have continued the beatdowns on the Acclaimed. And Billy Gunn said it's like beating up his sons. And eventually he can't take no more. He's made his return, and he said that badass Billy Gunn is going to be a part of Wembley. And to be fair, Billy Gunn in Wembley, he said we're going to do it one more time. It's going to be, to win the titles or not. I don't know if he was more or less saying he would retire if he lost this match. But I mean, if he was to retire, this would certainly be a great platform to do so in front of 80,000 people. I'm very pleased Billy Gunn is back for this show, by the way. And this is the trios match that I wanted.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm super gassed for this. Aleister Black, Buddy Murphy, Brody King, and the Acclaimed. And then you throw Billy Gunn on top. It's like a lovely little cherry on top, man. This is good. When the Acclaimed enter, it's going to be almost as loud as when the Saraya and Will Ospreay debut, man. It's going to be amazing. I'm so psyched for this, man. It's going to be a mad one. I'm super gassed.
It is going to be indeed. They're obviously going through the build there already. Obviously, House of Black have been so dominant as trios champions, but we've been talking about as well the idea of things that are going to be good to get in the crowd popping. Obviously, the idea of Sting being in attendance, Fozzy being sung live. I'm sure everyone will be singing "Living Color," Cult of Personality very loud as well.
Absolutely.
Max Caster's raps.
Do you know what? Because it's pay-per-view as well, that means he can be unhinged with it as well, and it can be a little bit more X-rated, and that's, do you know what I mean? They're the best ones, so I'm super excited for it.
Absolutely. But how excited are you at the prospect of potential new champions? What's your prediction?
I'm actually going to go with new champions. I think this is going to be a short reign. I think it's going to be we're going to get this again at All In, and I think the House of Black are going to take them titles back again. I think it's just going to be a 1 week turnover. I think it's going to be a massive pop. I think it's like the problem is I'm going with my WWE method of booking where the House of Black stood tall at the end of Dynamite. I guess that the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn are going to win at the pay-per-view. I'm probably going to be wrong, but hey, I'd love to see it happen. The thing is, I found this one of the most hardest matches to predict of the whole show, purely because it kind of felt to me, like you said there, like, I mean, Billy Gunn comes back and they're the moments of trios champions, because the Acclaimed had that really, organic moment winning the tag titles, when they should have done it last year All Out, but then they did it after Ash. I wondered if it was going to be one of those where the story feels like it's the right move for them to win here on the show. It's a big stadium show, a big moment to do so. But I just can't go against the House of Black. They've been so dominant as trios champions, and I feel like they destroyed the Elite, Death Triangles, CMFTR. I don't see anyone beating House of Black at all in the near future. And Brody King for me scares me, man. That dude can do some stuff in the ring. Like he's got a mean one. He has got future world champion written all over him if they wanted to push him down that way. But for me personally, House of Black are going to be my prediction here. But it should be a fun match regardless. We're going to go into the comments because some are starting to fly in here for us. Temple's actually said if Goldberg walks in, he'll walk out. Hope he didn't get an expensive ticket. That's all I'm going to say on that one. But he said Edge versus Malachi Black as well. Adam Copeland versus Malachi Black. Yeah, you forget all these guys that Adam Copeland's got history with. Malachi Black, FTR. Do you know what I mean? There's some proper storylines there that he could walk into, and it'd be amazing.
Absolutely. And this is a great point made here as well. Like, not just the fact they claim could win here, but imagine that amount of fans scissoring at the same time. Obviously, not PG.
Oh dear, someone had to go there with the jokes, and you just imagine 80,000 people scissoring. That is a terrible image in itself to say out loud.
Should we just give everyone a bit of an early one? Just
that's that way because my camera's reversed.
There we go. There you go. You're all sorted. You're all sorted for it. There we go. I love it.
Terrible.
Absolutely. CD here says House of Black will beat Billy Gunn and they claim 2 times. Billy Gunn and the Acclaimed are winning the Trios Championship. In a way, I see where people are going with this. I can see it. PS says I cannot wait to hear what Max Caster is going to rap about. And I can't wait for Anthony to do the Acclaimed have arrived in Sesame in Wembley Stadium. Should be pretty fun. And yet we have already had Max Caster already rap about Buddy and Rhea. Not about the engagement, though. Temple's scared about that. He's scared about the rap. Let's see where it goes. But yeah. Pierce, I don't know about you, but I don't like the concept of trios and 6-man tag team championships. I prefer trios or a faction as all the gold, not the same 3 belts. I'm fine with it personally.
I think it's a great way to get more people on TV. Like, I don't understand why WWE never did a trios title. They have the New Day. They're a perfect tag team to have as trios champions. a way to get more people on the product. I've always been a fan of trios titles. The only problem is just it's 11 matches on one pay-per-view, man. It's just typical AEW booking.
Absolutely. Is it bad? Because, I wanted everyone on the show just because of the fact, it's Wembley. Everyone should get that soak and that feel of that crowd. I wanted the casino battle royal on the buy-in.
Exactly. Yeah, I wanted that as well. I thought that would have been a great way to get certain more people on there, man. Like, just get everyone on there. I think they're part of this company and built it to be on this pay-per-view.
We've got still, hang on, just looking through. We've got 4 more matches to go. It is the Golden Elite, Kenny Omega, Hangman Adam Page, and Kota Ibushi against Konosuke Takeshita, Jay White, and Juice Robinson. Of course, the final 2 members of Bullet Club Gold. For me, I've got to be honest with you, I wasn't looking forward to this match when it's first announced. I was a bit like, I wanted Kenny Omega in the singles match. I know there was rumors it was going to be him and Danielson, but the more I thought about it, the more I'm quite looking forward to it. And I wanted Jay White in the singles match as well. I will specify that as well. Even Kenny versus Jay would have been great. But I kind of like the concept of this match. And I think that these 6, obviously, they all know each other very well. They've all worked together in New Japan previously. Obviously, they're all working together in AEW. I think that this is going to be a great trios tag team match. I've got a good feeling about this match.
I'm very excited for this as well. Kota Ibushi is an amazing, Ibushi is an amazing wrestler. Omega is an amazing wrestler. Hangman's a great wrestler. White is an amazing wrestler. Juice Robinson, I'm still undecided on, but he can still do some amazing thing. And Takeshita, man, that guy is slowly winning me over. Well, sorry, not slowly, very quickly winning me over. He is amazing. This has the potential to be an absolutely killer match. It's just a shame that we're not getting the Gun Club, because I really would love to have seen the Gun Club involved as well. They probably will be there, but I really wanted to see the Gun Club in action as well.
It may be on the buy-in, you never know, but because there's space on that buy-in for at least one more match, I would have thought. But certainly, I mean, this kind of has been building up, obviously, with Kenny Omega and Don Callis for a long time. We talked about Don Callis a lot earlier on here. Kenny not really had that revenge yet. Konosuke Takeshita obviously has been aligned also with Don Callis through that. That led to, I believe, the end of the cage match with John Moxley was where it started with the Callis turn. Obviously, the Takeshita turn. I'm trying to place myself where that took place and where that went down. But, I mean, it does, but it led to blood and guts anyway. And obviously, that's when those 2 left the area. Takeshita didn't take the beating like the Blackpool Combat Club did. He got out of there before it finished. So this is still going on. Kenny needs that revenge then. Obviously, now that, Jay White and Juice Robinson are doing the dirty work also for Don Callis, obviously taking out Kenny Omega in Jacksonville when he was having the sit-down conversation with good old JR Jim Ross. It feels like, for me, this is built together quite nicely. And obviously, Hangman Adam Page, obviously, is back with the Elite as well. So it's good to have him a part of this. The only thing that's disappointing for me with this one is time. I hope that this is given good time, because I feel like this could be somewhere in the middle of the card where they give it a bit of time, but not as much time as it deserves. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think this is the problem with a lot of people have said with Jay White's booking, like the fact that he's been more involved with this whole tag team and Bullet Club thing than actually being a single star, which seems to be a bit of a sour thing. And I agree with you. I hope it gets enough time to show. I mean, I didn't realize today that Bullet Club apparently is split into 4 separate factions, and I was like, and they're all beefing with each other. So, this is the reason why I've got a feeling this probably will be one of the shorter ones on the card. But like I said, I really want to see Jay White, and Takeshita is like, he's great, man. Like, I really want to see more of him.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it looks like it could be building perhaps for Omega Takeshita for the next show All Out, perhaps next week. Maybe they're delaying that for a week. But there was rumors that originally was going to be on this show, obviously, at one point as well, before they added more people to it. But it should be a fun one anyway. I've got to say quickly, I've seen it's split decision on Juice Robinson. I quite like Juice. I think it took time for him to grow in AEW. He kind of came in and kind of was like put on Rampage and stuff, and I think it presented him as a bit of a lower card guy, let's just say, rather than a job act. But now he's sort of finding his feet week on week with Collision, and I think to myself that he's got the ability to really let his personality loose with this Bullet Club Gold, and I do feel to myself that I'm enjoying this act more and more each and every week. The only thing I don't understand, and I'd like the comments to let me know, is why there's a cutout of Jay White everywhere they go, because Jay White's there. I understand one week he wasn't, but every other week he's there, and the cutout is still there. So someone fill me in on what that's to do with. But But I'm not too bad with it. But one thing I will say about Juice, I think he's taking the pinfall. I think the Golden Elite win here.
Yeah, I think the Golden Elite are going to win as well. For me, with Juice, I think the problem I have with it is that in New Japan was he had his spot on the roster, and it was kind of like he never ventured out of it. Obviously, since coming to AEW, he can be a lot more creative and a lot more open. So, like I said, I'm all open for the guy turning around. Like, he has been a much different character to what I'm used to seeing in New Japan. Like, in New Japan, he was always around like the Never Open Weight or the United States title, and it was kind of like he was just that he was New Japan's mid card guy. So I'm all up for him branching out and doing something crazy. But dude, it's Kenny Omega. It's going to be Kenny Omega winning, man. I can't see Omega losing in one of the biggest crowds in wrestling history ever.
No, I can't either. I'm sure there's going to be a one-winged angel on this show for sure, and I think that we'll pick up the W. I wouldn't be surprised if Takeshita takes a walk again, by the way, to leave Bullet Club Gold to defend 3-on-2 to finish this match off. That would be my little sort of outside take prediction as well with this one. Temple asked about the question about Hangman versus Jay White, Takeshita versus Ibushi, Omega versus Danielson Grand Slam. I think the last one with Danielson would depend if he's back in time. I know the injury was worse than first feared, but certainly would be fine with all of those matches, and also be very excited for the match of Omega and Jay White going one-on-one at any point. I think that's the match I would have actually liked to have seen if I could have picked any two out of this match, but certainly will be some good stuff indeed. But quickly here, we've got a prediction of I'm going with Hangman and Adam Page, Omega and Ibushi to win this Sunday at All In. Omega still remembers Jay White attacking him and turning his back in New Japan there. Good point there.
They have been playing a lot on that as well, because obviously Kenny was the one that invited Jay White into the Bullet Club back in the day, and then Jay White turned his back on him, which was the right decision, to be fair, at the time.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely was the right decision indeed. Pierre says here that when Jay White made his debut against Ricky Starks, I hate it. I hate his debut. I think he should have started with a feud with, I don't know, Chris Jericho. They had to start off somewhere, and I think that feud, it was two good in-ring performers, but something didn't click and didn't feel right. Since Collision has started, Jay White has started to go to another level, and I think he's starting to show the audience at AEW that perhaps weren't as familiar with his New Japan work, what a special talent he is, not just in-ring, but on the mic as well. He's getting more abilities to showcase his promo work as well, which I think is a great selling point for Jay White.
His promos are phenomenal, man. Like his stuff in New Japan is just like, I don't know if it's because obviously the way that New Japan present their heels and stuff, but he's awesome, man. And like I said, if you give him enough time, he'll convince anyone. He's just such an amazing talent. Absolutely, indeed, there. And obviously, we'll go for the Golden Elite. We'll see how it's going to play out going forward, but certainly it should be a fun match. But we'll go on to the next match, and this one certainly should be a lot of fun. It's Stadium Stampede, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, Stadium Stampede. The Blackpool Combat Club, Santana and Ortiz, the two mystery partners, I should say, for the Blackpool Combat Club, going against the best friends, Orange Cassidy, Eddie Kingston, and Ponta El Zero Miedo. That's a lot of names to read in 15 seconds. But unfortunately, Ray Phoenix couldn't be a part of the show. Visa issues pulled him from this one. There was meant to be another mystery partner for the Blackpool Combat Club. I wondered if that would have been Zack Sabre Jr. It's a shame he's currently not announced for this show. Maybe he may find himself on the buy-in in some way, especially if New Japan are doing a show the day beforehand. But certainly this one, I mean, we've seen kind of the Blackpool Combat Club and Best Friends going at it. Obviously, same with the Lucha Bros as well. It's kind of just thrown itself in together, and we've got Stadium Stampede. Eddie Kingston's come back as well. Obviously, him and John Moxley have had some issues going forward as well. I did like the small nugget we got backstage with Renee Paquette as well, after Moxley had taken out Phoenix and saying, you see what your husband did? And like, he just wasn't going to talk. Kingston doing what he does, but Kingston has sacrificed himself for John Moxley in the past. He kind of still has a bit of a confused love-hate relationship with this. So there's a lot of things intertwined with this, and we should mention Eddie Kingston hates Claudio Castagnoli, if you didn't know. What's your thoughts with Stadium Stampede? Obviously, it feels quite thrown together, but I do think on the night this should be a lot of fun. Yeah, I think it makes sense. I think it's just a way to get 10 guys on the show and just absolutely go crazy with it, man. And just we were saying before, this is going to be a one way. It's a case of you're just going to be sitting on watching the Tron and seeing what happens, because you're not going to be able to catch it all. Like, they're going to be all over the stadium. You're not really going to see much. If anything, most people will probably use this as an opportunity to go to the toilet, go to the merch stand, whatever. Hey, you might even run into them halfway through, man, because you never know. These matches tend to get a bit crazy. You know, you could be standing there queuing up to, buy a hot dog, buy a beer, whatever, and all of a sudden, John Moxley just comes along pouring blood out of his head, because I inevitably doubt he will be pouring blood at some point.
I'm sure if you're in the first 50 rows, there's a chance you might leave with a souvenir of John Moxley's blood. There is a possibility. Yeah. Keep an eye out for it. One name that really does not suit Stadium Stampede, in my opinion, but I think certainly could be swayed here. Orange Cassidy doesn't feel like a Stadium Stampede kind of guy. How do you reckon he's going to fit in that dynamic? I think could be interesting.
It's a case of just putting somewhere. It's a case of somewhere for Cassidy to be on the card, because there's a lot of singles matches on the card already, and I couldn't have seen them putting that international title up again for someone. This was probably the best of a worst case scenario. But I know what you mean. Cassidy really doesn't fit into, he doesn't fit the dynamic with his character. So it would be interesting to see what he does. I don't know, maybe there's a giant vat of orange juice again, like there was for the that match against Jericho. I forget what it was called. It's some sort of
mimosa match.
That was it, the mimosa match. Yeah. I'm sure there'd be some large pot of orange liquid somewhere for someone to fall in.
Absolutely. And of course, if we go back to history as well, I mean, wasn't it Santana Ortiz versus the Best Friends in the parking lot brawl that they did a long time ago? It was a 5-star match, that one. The Blackpool Combat Club recently had that with the Best Friends on Rampage. There's an excuse to watch Rampage at last. It was a pretty good match, to be fair. And like I said, there's so many variables in this match which makes it so interesting. Obviously, Eddie Kingston has a lot of history with Santana and Ortiz as well. We mentioned John Moxley, but so there's so much that goes on in this match with all these guys. So for me, I think this is going to be a fun time. I do think, like you say, this could start backstage somewhere, could start everywhere, probably work its way into the arena. And if, like I say, if you're in the first couple of tiers, I wouldn't be surprised if two people come, come past your area, maybe punching themselves going down. And if it's Moxley, like I said, there'd definitely be bloodshed involved. My feeling is long-term on this, because I'm going to try and get into the prediction early for this one. But I think that Moxley and Cassidy was what they were looking to build as a singles match. And I think Moxley will probably take that championship from Cassidy when he does so. I can see the Blackpool Combat Club, Santana Ortiz winning here. I think that they suit the style of the match better. Santana Ortiz were in the first ever one also, and it's just hard to bet against the BCC unless it's against the Elite.
Yeah, but see, this is my thing, is that because there's Santana and Ortiz in there as well, that gives the opportunity for the BCC to lose, which is why I'm going to go with the Best Friends, Orange Cassidy, Eddie Kingston, and Penta. I just think that, I hate to say it and be like, faces are going to win. I would like to see heels win at some point, but it's Orange Cassidy. He's if I'm looking, I don't know if anyone else is still a champion in the BCC. I don't know if not Castagnoli, the other one. Is he still the pure champion for ROH?
No, we lost that one to Shibata.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. So I just think that, plus it's Orange Cassidy, man. The guy is such a massive fan favorite, but I don't know. This is probably for me the hardest one to call, if anything, because I just don't have a clue. There's no reason behind half of it, but for me, I'm going to go Best Friends.
I like it. Well, but the thing is as well, we have different picks. I think that's quite fun,
it's always good.
So absolutely. David Finley's new Bullet Club has potential. So there you go.
It looks amazing. Finley is awesome.
I do agree. We've had a couple of mentions of Chris Hero on this stream, but Minoru Suzuki, imagine that song playing in Wembley. There would be some lyrics I'd need to learn.
That would be, well, yeah, it would be amazing, but it's a case of, didn't you say there's a New Japan show the night before or something? So it's any one sort of New Japan related seems to be, well, no, it's a possibility, because obviously Ospreay's doing it. So yeah, it's a possibility. Suzuki's always one of the ones, same as Tanahashi. Tanahashi always gets a good crowd reaction as well. But yeah, I don't know if Chris Hero's ever going to return to wrestling. He's been out for so long now. I think he's possibly set and doing producer work and all that stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, for me, just the idea of Suzuki being a part of this, it just makes so much sense to me. I love the idea of that. Obviously, I said Zack Sabre Jr. could have been another one. He had the rivalry going with Orange Cassidy at Forbidden Doors. So, I mean, if they want to bring some more members in it, I'm not against it. That's all I'm going to say about that. But big question here: will the match start on top of the stadium? I'm going to stop you right there. Lady Gaga might have been able to do it at the Super Bowl 51, but I don't see these guys on the top of Wembley Stadium to kick off Wembley Stampede. Maybe a VIP box might be the best you might get.
Oh, mate. Well, you never know. They could get to the top of the archway, possibly, but I very much doubt it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And 80,000 people singing that would be pretty darn good. And I think Temple is going to actually agree with this as well. Kings of Wrestling Reunion.
I want the Kings of Wrestling Reunion as well.
Absolutely. Temple, thank you for making mention of this. Of course, rest in peace. Terry Funk did pass away yesterday at 79 years old. So thoughts are with obviously family at this time. Obviously, a lot of tributes come out from a lot of different wrestlers. And of course, to the fan base as well. Truly one of the greats.
There's one for you, Steve. Now you've got to find a Terry Funk match for us to do a watch along to.
I could easily do that. That wouldn't take me too long. Wouldn't take me too long. I'd have to get some votes on. But of course, just quickly mention to everybody, there will be voting taking place later on the next SCW Rewind. So keep an eye on the channel. That will be dropping up very shortly. Blackpool Combat Club, Santana Ortiz winning Stadium Stampede. It's their first match back. Santana Ortiz since returning last night on Dynamite. Absolutely, it's a good point indeed there. We'll have to wait and see if that'll be the case. And CD says, not going to lie, John Moxley winning that championship would add a lot of prestige to that title. Could agree. I think certainly could do so.
To be fair, though, I think Cassidy's reign is added quite a lot of prestige to it because it's not like, do you know what I mean? He's beaten so many people. He's almost done a Jade Cargill with it. He's done really well with it.
He's had, I think, the most defenses ever. So he's done a brilliant job of it. He really, really has. And added prestige to it. And Claudio would be a good match to see as well. Wouldn't be against that. And also, Pac not on the show either, unfortunately, due to injury. He probably could have been a shout with Kenny Omega as well. So yeah, absolutely. And just a shout out, CD, his predictions are on his channel for this right now. So make sure, give it about 20 minutes and go and check them out because we'll probably be going on for about another 20 minutes, I'd say, on here. We'll go on to our next match. And we're going to have to rewind now. Obviously, we've gone through all the matches apart from the main event, but we've not talked about the buy-in match. So let's go into it. 0 Hour, the ROH World Tag Team Championship match, Aussie Open against Better Than You, baby, MJF and Adam Cole. The first question I have to ask, and it's probably the most important question of the stream, will we see a kangaroo kick at last?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We're going to get it at some point. I don't even know what it is, but I want to see it. Do you know what I mean? It's just one of them things, but
can't wait.
That's what I mean. And obviously, a double clothesline. Do you know what I mean? The most important match move is the finishing move, the double clothesline. But I'm super excited for this, man. Like the fact we get to see Adam Cole wrestle twice on the same show, I think is amazing in itself.
Absolutely. We're not perverse. We don't say it about MJF, just Adam Cole. See, MJF, it's all right. Who? Yeah, I don't know. Never heard of him. Aussie Open, obviously a very talented tag team. Obviously Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions at this point. Great to see him have such a great position, if you will, even though the fact they're on the buy-in. This match is going to be one of the big talking points on this show. Adam Cole, of course, has never been a Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champion. Of course, that's the one championship of Ring of Honor he's not won. MJF was not thrilled about wrestling twice, but said he would do it for his friend. So I suppose that's where we'll leave that layer of the story between those two here. I will just go into prediction territory because I think the rest of the story basically is MJF and Adam Cole. We can save it for their actual match, which is the main event of the show. I think there's going to be two miscommunications in this match. One caused by MJF and one caused by Adam Cole. And I think that they are going to lose this match. They're both going to blame themselves because obviously one of them probably is going to go and do another dirty when it comes to the main event. So my prediction is Aussie Open to retain. And I think that they will hit their big moves better than you, baby, but they won't get the job done.
Yeah, see, I'm pretty much going to go the same and say that Aussie Open retain. My only thing is that I think whoever wins this match actually changes the outcome of the main event. So, for instance, if MJF and Cole were to win the ROH Tag Team titles, I'd actually have a different prediction for the main event. But I'm saying Aussie Open because I'm going with my other prediction for the main event. So, this is the one that I could easily see them winning the ROH tag team titles, especially with the fact that Cole went on about the fact that he's never won those tag team titles. He's won everything else in ROH, just never the tag team titles. I can see it happening, but then obviously you have to take other things into factor, like Roderick Strong and all that kind of stuff. So for me, that's why I'm going to go with Aussie Open retaining.
Absolutely, they could play a factor, of course. Roderick Strong and the Kingdom have been playing their role, let's just say, in the build-up of this as well. Obviously saying, Roderick Strong's been almost like the jealous ex when it comes with Adam Cole, it feels, the whole way through. He's played his part really, really well. The Kingdom, obviously, former stablemates with Adam Cole, and they've kind of been on the side of Roddy Strong here, and it kind of feels like we're building to something where there could be a stable with either MJF or Adam Cole as part of this group, potentially coming out of the end of this show. That's something we're going to talk about in the main event in a couple of seconds. We're going to just put everything into one, ladies and gents, and then we'll go to your comments at the end, because I think it's the best way to keep the continuity of what we're discussing at this moment. But what I would just add, the final note on this match before we actually just talk about the main event, I think Adam Cole will be the one that will take the pinfall here, because he's the one that wanted to win these championships. MJF is the world champion. He shouldn't be pinned unless it's by Adam Cole in the main event. And I think MJF then will be the one, he'll be like, oh, you really wanted this as well. If he's really going to show this different side to his friendship, you wanted this. And I feel like I let you down because I screwed up.
Do you know what? That's the greatest shout ever. I forgot that someone has to take the pinfall. That's actually, oh my God. Yeah, because obviously Adam Cole, you're not going to have. Yeah, it's another fact. You know what I mean? This is why it's so hard to decide, because, for instance, if MJF was to take the pinfall, then again, it plays into a possible different outcome for the main event. And yeah, thinking about Adam Cole having to take a pinfall is actually insane. I didn't even think about it. Man.
Should this be a scenario? This is the final question to ask, because we've both gone Aussie, but basically we've gone for Aussie Open to retain the championships. Although we technically, I've now said a pinfall as an outcome. But you mentioned Roddy Strong in the Kingdom. What about the idea that it looks like Better Than You, Baby, are going to win this match, and simply Roddy Strong and the Kingdom beat down on both guys, knowing that perhaps maybe one of the other guys later on in the night is just taking that beating for now, knowing that they're aligned and safe later?
Possibly, but then I'm going to throw another one at you. What if MJF gets them disqualified by using the diamond ring?
Oh, he gets tempted.
Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. And I think if he uses it against Aussie Open, gets them DQ'd, then there's so many ways they can play this, man. And it's strange to see a match have 4 or 5 possible outcomes and not have a complete Scooby-Doo as to which one it's going to be.
And to think this is going to be the match that opens the show. This is why literally the emails were like, you better get here early because we want you in the house, because this is going to be busy.
It's important.
It's important. Yeah, you're going to miss something. If you're not here, you're missing something. So, it's going to be fascinating to see. But we've gone for Aussie Open to retain the ROH World Tag Team Championships. Yeah. So just before we kick into the main event, I just want to ask everybody, if you have enjoyed the video and if you're watching now, please hit the like button as well. Really does help the channel a lot more than you could ever realize. Subscribe if you're new here as well. I see a couple of newbies have come into the chat tonight as well. Make sure to like and subscribe and share with a friend as well. Let them know that we are here. We're going to talk about the main event now, and then we'll go to your comments. So the main event of the show, obviously, they wrestled in the first match for the tag titles.
Hey, just wait for the graphics to load.
And they will be wrestling each other in the main events. Thank you, technology. It's AEW World Title, MJF versus Adam Cole, baby. So obviously, this has been the best storyline going into this show. Probably one of the, if not the best storyline, probably over the summer. Better Than You, Baby, a bigger hit than we probably ever could have imagined. Obviously, this started with a singles match between Adam Cole and MJF, went to a great 30-minute time limit draw. And of course, that led to a start of a budding friendship, especially when they had to team up together in a blind tag team eliminator tournament to get a tag team title shot. And it was great because they've done all sorts of things. MJF has had spicy food. They've been at what's it called, like trampoline.
We discovered MJF's hate for poor people.
Yeah, absolutely. Hates kids as well. You were adopted and throwing dodgeballs at them. there's been great stuff really with these two. It's been fun. Yeah, every segment's been. I liked as well when MJF was playing video games and he's like, I'm not one of these like nerds, these virgins that play these kind of things, and it's like actually it was kind of fun to play this and win as me. Yeah, for me there's been some good stuff for these two all the way through, and as well. I mean, of course, we mentioned the kangaroo kick, the Crocodile Dundee stuff as well was awesome as well. But all in all, as much as we've seen a good budding friendship, it does come with a few questionable moments where both of them have questioned whether to turn on the other one, and of course. I mean, obviously, they picked on Tony Schiavone as well. Obviously, picking on his size, let's say, and that leads to a question of like through this story is Adam Cole he's been a good guy recently, but is he flirting with the idea of going with the bad side? Because not everything he does is squeaky clean. But MJF has become this likable scumbag. And he said he's a likable scumbag. He's still a scumbag, ladies and gentlemen. He'll still say those things that are scummy, but he is someone that now people are cheering on. We've seen where the diamond ring could have been used. We've seen where Adam Cole has kind of been tempted. We've seen a missed super kick this past week on Dynamite, which kind of led a question as well. Well, did he mean it? Did not? Surely not. Aussie Open moved out of the way. So there were a lot of variables that work into this. So my first question to you is going to be based on that part of the story, the budding friendship that these guys have had, the twists and turns where they could have been turns with one another, especially when they didn't win the tag team titles. Adam Cole was sure MJF was going to turn on him there. It didn't happen. They hugged it out. They've hugged it out a lot recently. They've not needed Dr. Shelby as much as sometimes we thought they may have done.
And the thing is you don't even know if they're going to hug it out at the end of the first match. Imagine 80,000 people chanting "hug it out." It's just insane. This match is equally just as bad as the first one. Like you just don't know. I mean, are we going to get a double switch? And we're going to get MJF go face and Cole turn heel, and there's just so many. Like you'll probably have more of a sense of a feeling of what's going to happen after the first match. But even then, there's still an untold possibility of stuff that can happen with this. And I don't know, man. Steve, I honestly do not know. Because my brain's telling me one thing, my heart's telling me another, my left hand's telling me one thing, my right hand's doing another. Do you know what I mean? This could go anyway. And it's just like, I don't think I've ever been like this baffled by a wrestling match in my life. Like I'm pretty sure after it, I'll turn around and go, yeah, do you know what? I should have seen that coming. But like going into it, I'm undecided. Like I'm still to this point debating my answer as to who's actually going to win the match.
I'll be honest, I have been as well, but I think I've made my mind up. But it could change between now and Sunday. But
exactly.
But I will, once I've said the prediction, I will stay with it. But obviously, I'm with you. Up until the last couple of weeks, I was like, there was about 5 or 6 different ways this match could finish. They could just end clean. It could end up with a heel turn. It could end up with a faction being formed. I feel like now, the way that this has played out the last week or so, it's going to lead to a faction being formed. It feels that the Roddy Strong and the Kingdom, words were being said backstage. They now seem to be on the same page. And Roddy Strong said this past week, we're going to see this Sunday who is the real MJF and who is the real Adam Cole. Roddy Strong has said that this guy is not a good guy, MJF. This is not it. And Adam Cole is obviously not is falling into the trap. Is Adam Cole really falling into the trap, or is Adam Cole playing along? He did say originally, I'm just playing along with all this. That was something that was said very early into the story. Is Adam Cole really been sticking to the craft and actually been good all along and going to turn heel? Or is MJF saying that really deep down, he has made some friends. He's made some great friends along the way. It's just not Adam Cole. It's actually the other guys. Who's it going to be?
Enlighten me, Steve, because I haven't got a Scooby, man. At this point of AEW, it can be anyone on that roster because you never know who they're going to team up with people, man. Enlighten me, please.
So, obviously, Adam Cole has history with Roderick Strong from the Undisputed Era, and obviously has history of being part of the Kingdom, along with Matt Taven and Mike Bennett. Yeah. However, I believe MJF is going to have them as the faction. I think that MJF has not just buddied up. I think that all of this is to plan Adam Cole, because everyone still was going to scream Adam Cole, baby. And MJF has said in the story, and I said it earlier on, he's still a scumbag. So he's going to do scumbag things. And he said he will do what it takes to retain this championship, the Triple B. I still feel in my head that I still feel he will be champion come the turn of 2024. Although I feel it feels now a bit more inevitable that he will remain with AEW. I like the idea of the fact that he goes into 2024 still champion. Will he or won't he lose that title? And where's he going to be in time? Because that makes a really fascinating, exciting storyline. If AEW don't capitalize on that, they're missing out on something. However, this is booked this week, I think it leads to the rematch next week because one of these two men has a faction and the other one now is aware of what they're dealing with.
But see, MJF having a faction is the obvious choice.
It is.
I think it's going to be Adam Cole. I think that the Kingdom and Roderick Strong fake crying into Matt Taven's shoulder, I think is going to be... Because everyone thinks that Adam Cole's just left his friends behind, and it's a case of, no. He's bringing them with him. And I reckon he's going to go back to the Kingdom. And I reckon that it's going to be Adam Cole that has the faction.
The thing is, both make perfect sense. This is for me, but the thing is, what I would say though is where both make sense. Adam Cole as a leader of that group makes more sense long term. MJF would MJF waits till the time is right and ditches the rest like a bad habit. That's what happens. He did it with the Pinnacle. He's done it with Wardlow. That's his, And the thing is, if MJF has this group as well, then he has his next army of people, of hoops that people have to jump through to get to a match of him. For example, when we eventually, as I've predicted, MJF to retain MJF versus CM Punk, I think that match happens at Full Gear with the Real World's title versus the AEW World Champion, and they go head to head. That's my pick for that. That's the placement for it. And on the road to that, you can make MJF then do what he did to Punk. Well, instead of the Pinnacle people, now you've got my Kingdom to go. Because again, he's got the diamond ring and stuff as well. He played himself to royalty. I can just see MJF doing all that stuff as well. But it could happen either way. I see both ways. What you said, I think, makes perfect sense, and I can see it going down. However,
whoa, dude, whoa. Give me 2 seconds, dude. I think there's some shocking news.
Go for it.
Give me 1 second. Just received a call from WWE Hall of Famer Mike Rotunda, who informed us to the tragic news that Wyndham Rotunda, Bray Wyatt, has unexpectedly passed away earlier today.
Oh, God.
Holy shit.
God.
Our thoughts are with his family as we ask everyone to respect their privacy at this time. Yeah, fucking Bray Wyatt.
Oh,
holy fuck, man.
Yeah.
Excuse my French, man.
No, to be fair, you can use swear in this opinion. This is obviously we said rest in peace earlier on with,
I didn't mean
with
to interrupt you, but I just I had to mention it, man.
Yeah, I understand that. That ultimately thoughts obviously with Bray Wyatt's family, people that are close to him. Obviously this is really shocking news. God,
fucking hell. Excuse my French again.
No,
Jesus,
of course. Well, I'll tell you what, obviously thoughts to go to his family, go to the fans, obviously people that it's going to impact a lot of this community. This obviously big breaking news has come out there, which you said that's come from Mike Rotunda as the source.
Triple H has just tweeted. Triple H tweeted out, and he said he received a call from. Says it. Triple H just received a call from WWE Hall of Famer Mike Rotunda, who informed us of the tragic news that our WWE family member for life, Wyndham Rotunda, also known as Bray Wyatt, unexpectedly passed earlier today. Our thoughts are with his family. We ask that everyone respect their privacy at this time, and that was 9 minutes ago.
Oh, it's absolutely sad stuff indeed. There really, really is. As we said there, we will go a bit extra at the end of this. If anyone wants to, obviously, share maybe their favorite Bray Wyatt moments, feel free to do so. We'll bring them as a tribute at the end.
We'll finish this off first, and
yeah, absolutely.
Just to go back, without trying to be disrespectful to Bray Wyatt, but just to play on what you said there about MJF doing that thing with the Kingdom. I can imagine the same thing, but Adam Cole forcing MJF to jump through the same hoops and then fight. Adam Cole will give him a different opponent each week in the same way that MJF has treated everyone previously that he's done a title defense against, which is why, for me, my prediction is going to be that Adam Cole wins.
I like it. I like your prediction indeed there. Obviously, Jonesy is in the comments as well, has confirmed the Bray Wyatt news there. So, yeah, this is... not good news on that. What we'll do is we will... I'm going to go up to the comments, obviously. You can see we're a bit thrown here with this, but
yeah, man.
We'll try to get back on track as best as we can. Obviously, a lot of comments have come in here with regards to this, so let's go here and go from where I believe we are. Jonesy did come in and say, "Good evening, lads. The Stadium Stampede match seems flat compared to the BCC Elite feud. I feel it's more predictable," was what I would turn around and say with this. But then at the same time, obviously you've gone with the opposite end. So I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I just feel it's one of the matches to get a load of names. It's like we said at the start, if they'd have done a battle royal, it's just a way to get 10 names on a match, unfortunately, and it's just going to be it's got no build about it, but it will be entertaining as anything.
Absolutely, indeed. There, I'm just quickly popping onto Twitter myself because I just want to see it is coming up everywhere with the Bray Wyatt news, unfortunately, which is so sad. I know we said we would go back onto what we're doing, but just wanted to confirm that it is on social media. So because I've seen it's been said that it's not on Google, so it is official news. It's it's very, very sad and very shocking. C Nation says, crazy to see MJF being on 0 Hour. It is a shock, isn't it, to see him as part of the show? But hey, look, it's a treat for those at Wembley, treat for those that are watching as well. They also get to not have to pay to see an MJF match.
It's the most cleverest marketing scheme to get everyone in their seats by that time, though. So it's very clever business-wise.
Absolutely. Pierre suggests there'll be no match. It'll be an angle. An attack will be the situation there. So interesting. I would be annoyed everyone rushing to get their seats and then all of a sudden, boom, that's what happens. So some of the matches... Absolutely. CD says he feels that one was predictable, that match, the buy-in match, but it says some matches are hard to predict. Some are very hard to predict here on this one. We really hope that we do get a double clothesline. Better New Baby wins the tag titles in 0 Hour. Would be fascinating. What would be your prediction had they won those tag team titles, just out of interest?
I would have said MJF retains. I think it goes the opposite way. I think that they had the tag titles, but Cole can't beat MJF in the main events. Do you know what I mean? But then again, like I said, we've discussed for the last 20 minutes or so, there's so many different possibilities and angles and ways that this can be booked that who knows? But even like we said as well, if no one gets pinned, if it's a DQ or again, all these little instruments just play into it and how the story will play out.
Absolutely. We've seen sympathy there for the other members there, Roderick Strong, Taven, and Mike Bennett. Seems that they may have a legitimate gripe here with one of these guys, whoever they are aligned with, and not the other one. And C Nation brings up a good point here as well, says that MJF took the pinfall.
Great show.
So it's now Adam Cole's turn to take that pin there. So I love that indeed there. We've been asked to do the one-night stand match here for Terry Funk, obviously the Edge Foley and Edge and Foley versus Dreamer and Funk from 2006. Man, you were there, Temple.
12 ECW pay-per-view.
There you go. I think it's going to be a clean win. There's going to be a screw job. It's either tag team title match or it's either the tag team championship title match or the world championship. Yeah, screw job definitely has to be the world title match.
You say that, but it's the main event of the biggest show in wrestling history. I don't know if a screw job. What, we're going to get another Montreal screw job? Is that what you reckon? We're going to get someone getting completely screwed over.
I mean, it's in storyline purposes, so I wouldn't go as far as Montreal, but yeah, I do see.
No, but you know what I mean? That level of, yeah.
They need a reason to book something for All Out the next week, so that's going to be my take on it.
Yeah. I can agree with that, yeah.
All right, so that's my feels anyway. The double clothesline will be with MJF and Roderick Strong. I like that. We'll double close MJF with Roderick Strong.
I'm trying to think if they had a tag team finisher in Undisputed Era, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
Unfortunately, neither can I at this moment. MJF to retain. No one is on the level of the devil right now, according to Pierre. Adam Cole, baby. It's 2 Sweet High was a prediction there. Forbidden Door, Gunter versus Orange. That would be quite fun to see indeed. Gunter versus anyone would be a good match, in my personal opinion. Have a feeling as well, Adam Cole or MJF's leg will be on the ropes, and whoever gets the 3 count celebrates. The loser will complain, get frustrated, and attack the referee. That seems to be a fun suggestion there as well. Definitely other things that could
play into the whole point that the Kingdom get involved.
Absolutely. Harry Smith to be a special debut at Wembley would be cool. I have him in the Stampede match. Would love to see the Bulldog's son. Yeah, I mean, like we said, we'd love a Casino Battle Royale to be thrown in the buy-in, but certainly it's not an easy one. A 50-50 call.
I'm just trying to think if there's any sort of UK talent that's like not signed by anyone that's a free agent that they could sign that would get a pop for something. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely, indeed. That agreeing with Jones's point, by the way, they need to have a reason to book the rematch so soon. Could we see O'Reilly or Fish return? I mean, O'Reilly, I think, is still out for a while. Fish, I think, has burnt the bridges. But Kyle O'Reilly certainly could be the most likely if one of those two was to turn up.
Yeah, possibly. I don't know his injury status. I didn't even know what he was at. I knew he was injured. I just didn't know what with, so I don't know the time frame or anything.
Absolutely. Jonesy making a Wembley reference here from SummerSlam 92, the biggest swerve. No swerve at all with either guy. Perhaps a callback to Macho Man on Ultimate Warrior with Roderick Strong, etc., being played by Ric Flair and Mr. Perfect, the perfect role to tease dissension. I like the idea there. Roderick Strong cost Cole and MJF the titles, and Richard Holiday, I hope it's Holiday, helps MJF retain. We can all dream. Certainly can indeed. Unfortunately, that is the news there that was confirmed, of course, earlier today. And again, our thoughts are with Bray Wyatt. We'll be going to that very shortly. But Jonesy, don't apologize. Thank you for putting it in the comments for us. And after the All In predictions, going to watch Adam Cole and MJF on a Hot Ones special playing Truth or Dab. I've seen them be going around on social media. I hope you do enjoy. CD says, I like the idea of Adam Cole forming a faction with Roderick Strong in the Kingdom. I'm starting to feel like I might want to change my pick, you know. So this is the thing. I've now said to MJF, and now all of a sudden I want to go. Because the thing is, I think Adam Cole he did say this as well. He's won the World Championship everywhere he goes. And do you know what the thing that made me pick MJF was the fact that Adam Cole was asked the idea of the dissension with them as friends, and he got really hot. As if it was okay. And that's usually a sign to turn around and say, well, actually, it's not okay. And that made me feel like it's predictable that Adam Cole was the one that's going to turn heel. Therefore, I thought maybe it's going to be MJF. That was the final straw for me. But yeah, it's it could go either way, honestly. I've got going into the predictions where we're going to say every result is a right result, in my opinion.
Let's be honest. This is the reason why we do these prediction shows, because we love just absolutely brain screwing the other person and just being complete ninjas with our predictions and just be like, nope, it's definitely going to be this one. Then after 2 minutes of talking to someone else, you're like, oh, maybe it ain't going to be that person anymore.
Absolutely. Nice to see some tributes here for Bray Wyatt in the comments below. Yeah, it's been quite a few coming, which obviously not surprised. Yeah, Temple said he was in shock. Absolutely, we were on the stream as well. But yeah, and
36, dude. He's 36. Wow. He's 2 years younger than me.
Yeah. And this is very true from Jonesy. One of the most creative minds ever. Thoughts with his family and friends. Absolutely. He's got young ones as well. Do have to think about that there as well. It's really, really sad. Jones says, do we see Edge turning up or any other surprises? I think there will be surprises on the show for sure. Edge could be too soon. I hope so as well.
No, I think Edge has still got another 30 days, I think, from what's been reported.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously as well. So my brain's not quite there anymore, unfortunately. Goldberg is one that's been teased. We said New Japan Stars was Zack Sabre Jr. would be one I'd like to see. The
thing is Goldberg will still get a pop. This is the thing.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. That's what I mean. So yeah.
Absolutely. And I've got a couple more tributes here as well for Brain, obviously for Brody Lee as well. Anthony Gogo could possibly be alongside Mariah Ray debut, or Jade Cargill, Thunder Rosa return. All those certainly a possibility. Mariah May actually hot in stardom right now, doing very, very well. And there are rumors that AEW is very hot on her case, would like her to be a part of the company. And there is some footage for those who have not seen her in ring. Very impressive stuff. Definitely think she'd be a great get for any promotion that is looking to sign Mariah May. So if AEW do, that certainly be a great signing indeed. Sinisther still have a prediction switch on my mind, but you guys always change it for me. So you guys are always
Sorry,
messy
CD.
with the chat. We're very sorry, CD. We don't mean to be those guys, but yeah, I think that we're going to wrap it up there for everybody, if you don't mind. But thank you all for watching this stream. I hope that obviously with the sad news that's broken, so that you've still been able to enjoy it. Obviously. But yeah, obviously our thoughts do go out to Bray Wyatt family, his fans as well, and obviously it's affected, it seems, a lot of people in the chat as well, and obviously a lot of surprise for NXT and myself also. But AEW All In will be taking place obviously on Sunday. It's going to be a hell of a show. It's been branded the biggest wrestling event in history. Time will tell if that leads to be the case, but there's certainly some stacked matches, a great looking card. I want to say a big thank you to NXT for being a part of this video. It's been great to have you on board as always.
Dude, it's always fun being on the channel. Obviously, like the end went a bit sour, obviously, but it's been fun. Hour and 49 minutes talking to you as usual. And I'm super psyched to see you on Sunday as well, because obviously we haven't seen each other in 20 plus years since we were at school. So at
least, yeah, at least. So it's gonna be awesome, man. Looking forward to catching up with you, and yeah, it's gonna be a fun time. But everybody, thank you all for watching, and I want to say a big thank you to all of you in the chat as well. There's some great content creators as well that have been getting involved in the chat that are doing their all-in predictions as well. C Nation says he's got his available now. On the Mark Wrestling podcast will be later this evening. Obviously, I've seen West Coast Podcast also been in the chat as well throughout this. So make sure to support everyone across the wrestling community. And yeah, we'll see you all very, very soon. And thank you all for watching. Take care.